Hello again, this is still Sue Johnson, your co-host, Wake Up and Live with the Arts, and we are absolutely thrilled to meet a very special guest today. That would be Michelle Fay, and I are going to talk to, I'm going to say this just one time, Dr. Mary Weems, who is a Renaissance woman. She is an actor, an author, a playwright, just to name the things that I can remember. And one of the things that she is so proud of and we are so thrilled to discuss today is her book called Black Eyed. And it is a book of plays and monologues. And anybody who is, I don't know how old you have to be, but everybody knows about black-eyed peas and rice and pork and pig feet, especially for New Year's. But this black-eyed is a little different, I think. So welcome, Mary Weems.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
We are so thrilled to have you. And you have your new book here called Black Eyed. And tell us a little bit about what the book is about, how it came into being.
It's called Black Eyed because it's really about the heart of the black experience from my perspective. Black-eyed peas being one of my favorite kinds of beans, being something that we always had on the first of the year because that was considered to be good luck.
Good luck, yes.
But the other layer of black-eyed the book connects to is my black eyes and how I have lived and perceived and imagined the black experience in my 60 years on this earth. The 7 plays and 13 monologues included were written over a 15-year period. And I couldn't be more pleased to have this book be a part of Patricia Levy's social fiction series with Inst Publishers. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is there's only one other book by a black woman playwright in print in the country, and that's by Sonia Sanchez, and Duke University Press did it in 2010.
So yes, you are among the elite of the publishing world, and we are so honored, like I said, to have you with us and help you get the word out about Black Eyed, your performances, your shows. You've got, like I said, you're a Renaissance woman. You've got a lot going on. What inspired you to write Black Eyed?
Well, really, Michael Oatman, maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, said to me, Mary, you have a lot of plays. You're always writing something new. There's a dearth of contemporary work out there by black women playwrights in print. Why don't you do a book? So I never proceeded to put the book together because, as he knows, I'm always moving on to the next thing I'm going to write. Mm-hmm. And what happened is Patricia Levy, who's an independent scholar that's familiar with my work, contacted me because she wanted to publish a collection of my plays. Mm-hmm. And when she said, Mary, if you'll put it together and write a proposal, I'll publish it, that prompted me to get busy and put together plays and monologues that I thought would work together in a collection.
I need to explain who Michael Oatman is. He is the playwright in residence for Caramoo Theater, the oldest well, it's not really an African-American theater. We'll talk about that later. But that's who Michael is. He is a well-known playwright, and as well as the playwright in residence at Caramoo. So
he's also a close friend of mine and someone I have had the honor of calling my brother for over 15 years.
Hot dog. We've had Michael on the show in the past. Mm-hmm. It's been a while.
Yes.
Yeah, Michelle, you wanted to ask her something?
Well, I simply wanted you to explain who Michael Oatman is to those of us in our audience who aren't familiar with him. Mm-hmm. Also, I noticed on your resume that you've done some other collaborations with Michael. The two of you have edited a few works together prior to this book?
I have. We did a book, as a matter of fact, that Vicki Williams is included in called Say It Loud, Poems About James Brown. Mm-hmm. And what happened is James Brown music inspired me as a very, very young woman. When he made the song, Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud.
Yes.
That was the first time I'd ever heard black and pride connected together. So like many young folks during that time, I had my afro pick, my dashiki, my blackness, my love for black people, and I went around singing that song all the time. It inspired me, and when I heard about his death, I wanted to do something to honor him. So I put together a call for poems about James Brown, and I asked Michael Oatman if he would edit the book with me after I asked Thomas Sayers Ellis first, who was a poet here at the time, but he took a position out of town and was unable to do it. Michael agreed to, and that's how we did the book together.
Now, you're on a teaching faculty here in the Cleveland area.
You know,
correct?
actually, I'm not. I spent 5 years as an assistant professor at John Carroll University, but I left John Carroll in the spring of 2012, and I've since returned to full-time consulting through a business I started in 1996 called Bringing Words to Life.
Okay.
Wow.
And speaking of bringing words to life, you have a play that is going to open very soon at Karamu.
Yes, I do. It's called Purses. It was inspired by something my grandmother used to tell me all the time, which is don't put your purse on the floor because you'll never have no money. And so there are 3 characters in the play. There's Hattie, who's in her 60s, and Hattie has something called Talking Sundays at her house every Sunday right after church and before dinner. So if you're a black woman in the community that has something on your mind or spirit, you're welcome to come to Hattie's house, sit down and talk with a collection of black women who care. And so the other 2 characters are Darling, who's in her 50s, and Meiji, who's in her late 20s, early 30s. The play takes place in Hattie's living room, and it's all about the secrets black women carry in their pocketbooks. And with that in mind, I'd like to do a brief excerpt from the play. My husband's trying to kill me. He's been practicing 35 years. He likes my tears with his breakfast, my black eyes fixed on his each morning after. His advice, words on how not to get my ass whooped next time. When company comes, he is the smile on our wedding picture. Me, 15 and too dumb to know where P came from. Mother so glad I got a husband, she made a dress for a princess. After we were married, he kept me like a pet, a short-haired Rapunzel, unable to do anything without permission. 10th grade education, money locked in a safe in our room.
Oh my, that's powerful. I got to see a lot of it a while back. I didn't see the play all the way from the beginning, but my one reaction was about how powerful that piece was. And this is the piece, Purses, that Karamu is featuring and showcasing April 2nd through 5th, and then the 8th, and then the 9th through the 12th. Oh, no,
Yes.
that's an and sign, that's not an 8. Before we go on much further talking about you mentioned another name that we have to give recognition to. You named Vicki Williams.
Absolutely.
And I would be positively remiss if I didn't let our audience know that she is our own Wake Up and Live's Actor Studio very own playwright in residence, and we're going to show you the play when James, our other co-host, when we chat about things that have been going on at our studio and Vicki's play Commemorative. So you've been interacting with lots of local authors, playwrights, performing artists, and so forth. So Purses, we do want you to call Karamu, 216-795-7070, extension 222, so that you can reserve your tickets for purses. And the shows are at 7:30 p.m. and those are what, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, or Fridays, Saturdays?
There's a preview on Thursday night at 7:30. Then there are Friday and Saturday 7:30 p.m. shows, and then there's a Sunday matinee at 3 o'clock. There's a special Saturday matinee, though, too, that I want to make the audience aware of, and that will be Saturday, April 11th at 3:30 p.m.
Okay, good, very good. Now, you will see this in color on our show, but this is the purses flyer, which you will see on Karamu's website, karamuhouse.org, well, you know, www.karamuhouse.org. Mary, do you have your own website or email address?
I do have my own website, and it's www.maryweems.com. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that while I shared an excerpt from the play because I wrote it, I'm not performing in it, and I want to acknowledge the fact that Ashley Aquila will have her first time directing, and she will be directing my play Purses, and it also stars Tanyelle Williams as Hattie, Kia Chapman Langford as Darling, and Crystal Christian as Meiji. I want to share that I have long loved and admired Ashley Aquila, not only for her ability to act, but thanks to her tutelage under Michael Oatman, she has an amazing director's eye, and I can't wait to see what she does with my work.
Before we let you go, you have an exhibit that is going to be showcased at the Museum of Contemporary Art. Is that correct?
And you know what? It's actually not my exhibit, but I want to point out that this pen, which is a black man's head and is created all from beadwork, was created by Joyce J. Scott, a Renaissance woman artist, following in the footsteps of her late mother, Elizabeth Talford Scott, who was a craftswoman. Joyce J. Scott is a true Renaissance woman because she not only works in beads, she's a sculptor, she's a comedian, she's a singer, she's a writer, and she's a performance artist. I had the honor of being hired by, thanks to Megan Reich and Deidre McPherson of the Museum of Contemporary Art, to experience her exhibit, to meet her in person, and then to write pieces as inspired in response to her current exhibit. The key installation is called The Lynched Tree, and it's this huge installation where she has created a white woman hanging from her feet with the bones of black men and other objects coming out of her back. So I wrote a piece to Lynched Tree, and she also has an installation of small sculptures called Day After Rape, which inspired me to write a couple of poems which I will share on that evening. And I think the main thing I want to say about the Museum of Contemporary Art is that it really goes out of its way to give artists all over the country and a diverse group of artists play at the museum, a chance to showcase their work. And Joyce J. Scott's work is definitely worth the time to check it out.
Could you give us those dates?
Yes, that will be on March 26th. It's called Point of View, from 7 to 9 p.m. And the exhibit has been up for a while and will continue to be up until shortly after this presentation on the 26th.
Well, you also need to know that a lot of people, we know it is the Museum of Contemporary Art, but many of our audience will also know it as Mocha. And it started out way back when at the Cleveland Playhouse facility on 85th and Euclid. Now it's moved up the street to the intersection of where Mayfield and Euclid and Ford Avenue, that quadrangle there. And it's that brand new avant-garde looking glass, looks like it's just black glass. So it's very futuristic looking, and I believe parking is in the back. So for the Mocha exhibit and Mary's participation. Is there a phone number there or call you? Or
there is,
website?
but I don't have the phone number, but
Okay.
Mocha does have a website, and their telephone number too is easily located. Sorry, I don't have it. I also want to point out that anyone that might be interested in checking out my book can go to the Inst Publishing website at www.instpublishers.com.
Okay, well, that's a lot of information, and she's still busy. She still has to tell us about Black Notes because she is just so prolific in her artistry that we need to know more about what you're doing. And that she was talking about Deidre McPherson, and you haven't heard the last of Deidre and Mary's projects, because if all things work to the good, Mary has given me the honor perhaps to work with Deidre so that we can do something in the fall to help promote you as an artist. So I might as well take a moment before I go to Black Notes. What we are trying to do through our Wake Up and Lives Actors Studio is, like Mary Weems, like our own Vicki Williams, there is no reason why we can't keep our local artists in town and have them create and produce all over the country. So Mary is, hopefully our show will help her get noticed out further into the world, as when we talk about Vicki's play shortly, to help her get out there into the larger world, because we don't want our artists to be part of the best kept secret of Cleveland.
I know that's right.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Black Notes before we close this afternoon.
Well, the idea for Black Notes came from two things. I knew that I wanted to do something to promote my book. I knew that I wanted to travel. So I thought about what I could do, and I decided to put together a one-woman show that includes excerpts from the book, but also new work. And it was inspired by a YouTube clip that I saw called The Black Keys. And The Black Keys is about the fact that the original Negro spirituals were created using only the black keys on the piano to mimic the sounds coming from the bows of slave ships. As a descendant of slaves, I was inspired to create this one-woman show, which is called Black Notes, and that means that each piece is a combination of poetry, haiku, and monologue, and each piece is designed to represent a single black note in the black experience. So it starts with me singing Sometimes I Feel Like a Motherless Child, and then it moves to this piece called Note from the Slave Ship Jesus, because one of the first slave ships to bring my ancestors to this country was called Jesus. And I don't know how many people know it, but the slave ships were regularly blessed by the Catholic Church.
That's new information to me. And of course, since sometimes we're kind of teaching we are a teaching organization or show, you said that your story is told partially in haiku. For those who do not know what haiku is, can you just give them an idea?
It's a Japanese poetic form. They're different syllable breakdowns, but the standard is 5-7-5. And you're supposed to connect something in the natural world with what's going on in the human, with people. So, for example, I wrote a haiku a long time ago that goes, a blue bag blows down a naked inner city street, the sky in disguise. So I'm combining a moment in my life with nature, because I was imagining when I looked up at the totally black sky on my street, where does the sky go when it's night and it needs a break? Where does the blue sky go? And I decided it turns into a light blue shopping bag and it blows around my neighborhood.
Wow. Yes, ma'am.
If audience members would like an opportunity to see Black Notes, this one-woman performance, how would they go about arranging for such?
They could contact me through my website at www.maryweems.com, or they could contact me by phone at 216 382-7611. Thanks for asking.
Is there an email address as well, or do you prefer folks to use your web address?
I actually prefer folks to use my email address. Thank you, Sue. And that is mweems45@yahoo.
Excellent. And we also should say, we still won't let Mary go just yet. Being affiliated with the Caramoo Alumni Association, we want to let the world know that Mary Weems was the first person to pay her permanent dues to the Caramoo Alumni Association. No. I'm telling you, we're showcasing this lady, okay? And we got to keep showcasing her because our other co-host, James McGilvray, is off camera right now, and he says, I've got to ask you about Phyllis Hyman. Hyman.
Oh, Phyllis Hyman.
Phyllis Hyman,
oh,
yes.
Yeah, oh man, I loved her and got a chance to see her the last time she performed anywhere. It was at the Front Row Theater.
Yes.
And not long after that, I heard that she was dead.
She had committed suicide.
Yes, and it's still hard for me to even say the word suicide because I thought that she was so amazing.
It was stunned us all, truly, because I had met her, and on outward appearances, that made it even more of a shocker because it just wasn't there where you had that feeling that suicide was in her picture.
So I wrote a poem because I visited my friend and her husband, my friend Ada Ward Randolph and her husband in Columbus not long after she died, and he had a picture of Phyllis Hyman with this big flower in her hair, which reminded me of Lady Day.
Billie Holiday, yes.
And if you have time, I wrote this poem called Breaking, which I'd like to do.
Okay, by all means, yes.
It says, her image on my friend's wall, flower perched in her hair like Lady Day, takes me back to a star-dark night, an oval revolving stage, West African queen illuminated by lights that kiss her feet like a man in love. My head stuck in an upturn, breathing a rote response, all energy directed to ears riding on a melodious wave. In between songs, she talks of life and love as if she believes. Takes each of us up a plateau of blues, jazz, soul, strong as an elder's hands. I've always wanted to sing like Hyman. Open, easy, free, sound of lyrics born in a body, composer, God, teacher, the universe. There's a lesson here, woman who took my breath away. A magnificence each of us could see, a gift she could not imagine. Since several days later, she ended a life I could have sworn was just beginning. Like a virgin who chooses escape before a man breaks her, Hyman.
Good Lord Almighty, thank you. Yeah, wow. As you see, we could stay here all day and talk to Mary Weems and, of course, Michelle and I, but we're going to get ready and have James join us so that we can fill you in with a little bit more about what's going on in Cleveland and with us at the Actors Studio. We want to thank you, darling, so much for joining us today, and it's really an honor to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, Sue and Michelle, and good luck.
Yeah,
good luck.
And we're looking forward to all of her upcoming work at Mocha, or Museum of Contemporary Art, March 26th. We're looking for her opening of Purses on April 2nd at Caramoo. And we're just looking out for Mary Weems. Pretty soon she's going to be everywhere. So thank you for joining us, and we wish you nothing but much joy and happiness and prosperity.
Thank you.
And on that note, don't move.
Don't go.
Don't go. Till we cut the camera. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, and stay tuned. James will be here in a second.